A successful black female CEO discovers a struggling Latina single mother doing an unexpected noble act right inside her own bank. What happens next is unbelievable. The entire branch freezes. Pins drop. Customers stop breathing. A new teller's face drains of color as the woman at the counter says 5 simple words that change everything. I own this bank. In that heartbeat, one act of suspicion collides with radical kindness, and the ripple that follows will save homes, heal hearts, and prove that compassion is the real currency of life. But to understand how we got here, we have to step back into the shadowed streets of post-pandemic Detroit 2023. Meet Rosa Lopez, 37 years old, single mother of 2, living in a 1-bedroom apartment above an old auto shop on the east side. Every morning at 5:17 a.m. her alarm buzzes. She slips out of bed without waking her kids, 8-year-old Sophia and 11-year-old Mateo. The radiator clanks like it's arguing with winter. Rosa boils water for oatmeal on a hot plate because the stove hasn't worked since the landlord disappeared 6 months ago. She packs 2 brown bag lunches, peanut butter on day-old bread she gets from the church pantry, then kisses their foreheads and whispers the same promise she's made every day since the pandemic stole her restaurant job. Mommy's gonna fix this. Just hold on. By 6:30, she's on a rattling 9 bus, uniform already stained from yesterday's diner shift. She scrubs tables until noon, then rushes to her second job cleaning offices downtown. Her hands are raw from bleach. Her back aches from lifting trash bins, but she never complains, because every extra dollar goes into the shoebox under her bed, the one labeled Future. Inside are crumpled notes. $11 from returning cans, $23 from babysitting a neighbor's baby, $40 she saved by skipping her own lunch 3 days straight. Rosa's dream is small but massive to her. A $15,000 loan to fix her credit, stabilize the rent, and maybe, someday, start a tiny catering business using the recipes her abuela taught her in Mexico before they crossed the border. You'd never know any of this watching her in public. Rosa smiles at strangers. She remembers the veteran's name from last week. She always slips an extra cookie into the bag for the elderly Korean grocer who shops at the same corner store. That quiet nobility, the way she chooses kindness even when the world has been anything but kind to her, is what makes her extraordinary. This particular crisp autumn morning, Rosa walks into the flagship branch of Community First Bank, clutching her loan application like it's a winning lottery ticket. The lobby hums with ordinary struggle, tellers juggling long lines, the smell of fresh coffee mixed with nervous sweat, the low murmur of people praying their numbers don't get denied. Inflation has bitten everyone here. Foreclosure notices sit in back pockets. Trust is thinner than the paper the notices are printed on. Rosa takes her place in line behind a young white veteran named Marcus, who's nervously flipping through debt relief forms. His hands shake. Rosa notices. Without a second thought, she steps closer. "Excuse me, soldier," she says softly, her accent warm like fresh tortillas. "You look like you could use a friend. I filled these out last month. Wanting to show you the trick on Section 4. Marcus looks up, surprised. Rosa spends the next 10 minutes patiently explaining, drawing little stars next to the important lines, even offering to translate the Spanish footnotes for him. She doesn't know him. She has her own papers to worry about. But she helps anyway, because that's who Rosa Lopez is. Unseen by Rosa, standing near the entrance in a crisp navy pantsuit, is Maya Thompson, the 48-year-old black female CEO who built this very bank from nothing. Maya watches the whole exchange. Something in her chest tightens. She recognizes that kind of quiet strength. It reminds her of the stranger who once paid her college application fee when she was a scared South Side kid watching her mother lose their home to predatory lenders in 2008. Maya came here today for one reason: to personally withdraw $250,000 to fund emergency home loans and a youth mentorship program. She wants to prove her bank still has a heartbeat for the community that raised her. But first, she pauses, captivated by the woman in line who is giving away her time and hope when she clearly has so little herself. Before Maya can even introduce herself, Rosa reaches the counter. The new teller, Jamal, a stressed 20-something trying to prove himself on his third week, begins processing Rosa's papers. Then Maya steps up to the next window with her own request. And that's when everything changes. "Ma'am, this amount requires manager approval and more ID," Jamal says, his tone clipped, eyes flicking over Maya's appearance with unconscious suspicion. "We can't just." The air shifts. Customers lean in. Rosa glances over, sensing the tension. Maya's heart races. This is her bank, the one she clawed into existence through racist boardrooms and sexist investors so that no one else would ever feel the humiliation her mother felt. Years of being underestimated flash behind her eyes. She straightens, voice steady but laced with deep pain, and says the words that stop the entire room cold. "I own this bank." The word "own" hangs in the air like smoke after a gunshot. Every head in the branch turns. The security guard freezes mid-step. A toddler stops crying in his mother's arms. Jamal, the young teller whose badge still shines new, stares at Maya as though she just claimed to own the sky. Maya doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't need to. She simply reaches into her blazer pocket, pulls out a slim leather card holder, and slides her CEO ID across the marble counter. The gold-embossed name reads, Maya E. Thompson, Founder and Chief Executive Officer, Community First Bank. Jamal's eyes dart from the card to Maya's face and back again. His mouth opens, closes, opens again. I didn't, ma'am. I mean, Miss Thompson. Dr. Thompson. Maya corrects gently. No angu. Just fact. But you can call me Maya. The branch manager, Mr. Hargrove, a silver-haired man who's been with the bank since Maya opened the first location, rushes over, tie flapping. Dr. Thompson, this is we weren't expecting. I know, Maya says. That's the point. She turns slowly, taking in the room. Rosa Lopez is still standing 2 feet away, loan papers clutched to her chest like armor, eyes wide with something between awe and protectiveness. Marcus the veteran has stepped closer, instinctively positioning himself like he's ready to back Maya up. The elderly Korean grocer, Mr. Kim, has lowered his deposit envelope and is watching with quiet respect. Maya could end this right now. One word and Jamal would be gone by lunch. One signature and the withdrawal would process in seconds. But something stops her. She remembers being 19, standing in a different bank line, application fee in hand, only to be told we don't do that here by a teller who never looked her in the eye. She remembers the stranger behind her, a white woman in nurse scrubs, who quietly paid the fee without fanfare and walked away before Maya could even say thank you properly. That one act lit the fuse on everything Maya became. She looks at Jamal again. He's trembling. Instead of punishment, Maya does something no one expects. She smiles small, tired, real, and says, "Let's talk. All of us." She gestures toward the small community room at the back of the branch, the one usually used for financial literacy workshops. 5 minutes. No cameras, no write-ups. Just people. Jamal hesitates. Mr. Hargrove starts to protest, but Maya's look silences him. Rosa speaks first, voice soft but firm. "I'll stay if you want company." Maya turns to her. "I like that very much." They file in Jamal, Rosa, Marcus, Mr. Kim, even 2 other tellers who are on break. The door clicks shut. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead. Folding chairs scrape against tile. Maya doesn't sit at the head of the table. She pulls up a chair in the middle, same as everyone else. "I built this bank," she begins, "because I was tired of people being treated like they didn't belong in their own financial story. My mother lost our house in '08. Predatory loan. No one explained the fine print. No one cared. I was 15, watching movers take our couch while the banker drove away in a car nicer than anything we'd ever owned." She pauses, lets the silence settle. "A stranger paid my college application fee. $50. I never even got her name. But that $50 told me something I've forgotten. Kindness isn't weakness. It's power." She looks directly at Jamal. "When you looked at me and saw someone who didn't belong, you weren't seeing me. You were seeing a story someone else told you. I get it. We all carry those stories. The question is, what do we do when we realize the story is wrong?" Jamal's shoulders drop. His voice cracks when he finally speaks. I thought you were trying to pull something. Big withdrawal. Cash. New face. I panicked. I am sorry." Maya nods. "Thank you for saying that." She turns to Rosa. "And you. I watched you help Marcus in line. You didn't have to. You had your own fight today." Rosa shrugs, almost embarrassed. He looked scared. "I know, scared." Maya smiles again, this time warmer. "That's exactly why I'm here today. I came to pull $250,000 to keep more families from losing what my mother lost. Emergency loans. Youth program. Real help." Gasps ripple around the table. Mr. Kim speaks quietly. "My store almost closed last year. Your bank gave me the line of credit no one else would. I still tell people, community first isn't just a name." Maya looks around the circle. "We're supposed to be better than the banks that hurt us. Starting right now." She turns back to Jamal. "I'm not firing you. I'm asking you to help me fix this. Starting with Rosa's loan application." Jamal blinks. "But I don't have final approval." "You do today?" Maya says. "I'm authorizing you. And I want you to look at her file the way you'd look at your own sister's." Rosa's eyes fill. She doesn't cry. She's too proud for that. But her fingers tighten on the papers. Jamal opens the file. Reads. Pauses. "Ms. Lopez, your debt-to-income is borderline, but your payment history on rent and utilities is perfect. You've never missed. And these catering references," he looks up. "You've been doing side work for the church." Rosa nods. "Mostly free, but they write letters." Jamal exhales. "I can approve this. And I can add a 6-month grace period on the first payments. Won't cost the bank much, but it'll give you breathing room." Rosa's hand flies to her mouth. Maya leans forward. "One more thing. I want everyone in this room to remember this feeling. The moment we chose understanding over suspicion. Because that's the only way this bank survives. Not on interest rates, but on trust." She stands. "Now, let's get back to work. Rosa, Your loan is approved. Marcus, let Jamal help you next. Mr. Kim, I'd love your input on the youth entrepreneurship track we're launching. As they file out, Rosa lingers. She touches Maya's arm, light, respectful. Thank you, she whispers. Not just for the loan, for seeing me. Maya covers Rosa's hand with her own. I saw someone who already gives more than she gets. That's the kind of person worth investing in. Outside the room, the branch feels different, lighter, warmer. The first small act of kindness, Rosa helping Marcus, has met the second, Maya choosing grace over power. And something invisible begins to shift. Before we continue with this incredible journey, I spent countless hours researching and crafting this story to bring you something truly meaningful. If stories like this touch your heart, and you want to see more acts of kindness that restore faith in humanity, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. It means the world to me and helps these important stories reach others who need to hear them. Now, let's see what happens next. Have you ever witnessed an act of kindness that completely changed your perspective? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one. The rest of that afternoon feels like the first warm day after a long winter. Rosa walks out of Community First Bank holding an approved loan offer letter she never thought she'd see. The numbers are modest, $18,000 at 4.9% interest, 6-month grace period, but to her they might as well be $1 million. She calls her kids from the bus stop, voice shaking just enough that Sophia asks, "Mommy, are you crying happy tears again?" Rosa laughs through the lump in her throat. "The best kind, mi amor." Inside the branch, Jamal stays late. He doesn't have to. His shift ended at 3 o'clock, but he pulls Marcus's file next, then Mr. Kim's renewal paperwork. He listens, really listens, when Mr. Kim talks about how the youth program could teach his grandson how to run the store someday. For the first time in weeks, Jamal doesn't feel like he's just punching a clock. He feels useful. Maya doesn't leave until closing. She sits with Mr. Hargrove in her office, reviewing the day's transactions. He's quiet for a long time. "You could have made an example of him," he finally says. "I did," Maya replies. "Just not the example most people expect." That night, Maya drives home to her quiet townhouse in Corktown. The lights are off when she walks in. No one waiting. No family photos on the walls. Only framed articles about the bank's opening. Awards she never hangs because they feel like someone else's life. She pours a glass of water, sits on the couch, and for the first time in months, lets herself feel the weight she's been carrying alone. The next morning, she does something she hasn't done in years. She shows up at the branch unannounced, in jeans and a hoodie instead of a suit. She brings coffee for the morning crew, real coffee, not the lobby pot, and starts helping wherever she's needed. She answers phones. She explains overdraft protection to a nervous college student. She sits with Rosa when she comes in to sign final documents. They talk. Rosa tells Maya about her abuela's mole recipe, how she dreams of a food truck someday, how Mateo wants to be an engineer, but the school's math program is barely hanging on. Maya listens like it's the most important meeting of her life. Over the next 2 weeks, small connections grow roots. Jamal starts mentoring Marcus on credit rebuilding, free sessions after hours. Marcus, grateful, volunteers at the Youth Center Maya, is funding, teaching basic auto repair to teenagers who remind him of his younger self. Mr. Kim brings homemade kimchi to the staff break room every Friday. The tellers start calling him Grandpa Kim. Rosa begins catering small staff lunches at the branch. Nothing fancy, just arroz con pollo and fresh tortillas, paid for out of her first loan draw. The food becomes a ritual. People linger longer. Conversations deepen. Maya starts hosting weekly community circles in the back room. No agenda. Just coffee, chairs in a circle, and whoever wants to speak. A black single father shares how he's afraid to apply for a mortgage because of past rejections. A young Latina college student admits she's terrified of student loans. An older white retiree talks about feeling invisible since his wife passed. Maya doesn't fix everything. She just listens. And somehow, listening becomes the strongest medicine. But kindness doesn't erase reality. 3 weeks after the frozen moment, trouble arrives in the form of an email from the regional compliance officer. Subject: Irregular transaction activity, branch 001. The $250,000 withdrawal Maya intended to process that first day never happened because she chose the circle instead. Now the board is questioning why the CEO personally authorized loan modifications, grace periods, and extended counseling sessions without formal committee approval. A few board members, older, mostly white, mostly distant from Detroit streets, see it as risky lending practices. They want documentation. They want justification. They want to know why the branch's delinquency projections are softening instead of tightening. Mr. Hargrove brings the printout to Maya's temporary desk in the break room. They're scheduling a virtual review next Tuesday, he says quietly. They're asking for your presence, and they want Jamal's personnel file. Maya reads the email once, twice. Her stomach twists. Not with fear, but with the old, familiar ache of being forced to prove she belongs. She looks up at Hargrove. They think I'm playing favorites. They think you're changing the model without consensus. Maya exhales slowly. Maybe I am. That night she calls Rosa. It's late, past 10 o'clock, but Rosa answers on the first ring. Maya? Everything okay? Maya hesitates. Vulnerability doesn't come easy. I might have stirred up more trouble than I meant to, she admits. The board, they don't like the way I'm running things lately. They're questioning the loans, the modifications, even Jamal's involvement. There's a long pause on the other end. Then Rosa speaks, voice steady. You gave me a chance when no one else would. If they take that away, I'll lose the apartment. The kids, she stops. Swallows. But I'd rather lose it knowing someone saw me as more than a risk. You did that. Don't stop now. Maya closes her eyes. I'm tired, Rosa. I've been fighting alone for so long. You're not alone anymore, Rosa says simply. Not if you don't want to be. The next morning, Maya walks into the branch and calls another circle. This time she tells everyone the truth. The board is reviewing what we've been doing. They might roll back the changes. They might ask me to step back. Silence. Heavy. Jamal speaks first. If they push you out, they push all of us out. This place was dying before you started treating people like people. Mr. Kim nods. My grandson asked me yesterday why I smile when I come here now. I told him, because someone believes we can do better. Marcus adds quietly, I was ready to give up. You all changed that. Rosa stins. Then we fight for it. Together. Maya looks around the circle, black, Latino, Asian, white, young, old, struggling, hoping, and feels something crack open inside her chest. Not weakness, relief. For the first time since she started the bank, she isn't carrying it alone. The review looms. Tension coils tighter every day. Phone calls from board members come in clipped tones. Emails multiply, but the branch keeps running. Louder, warmer, more stubborn than ever. Have you ever had to overcome obstacles to help someone you cared about? What challenges did you face? Share your experience below. Tuesday morning arrives like a storm nobody wants to name. Maya sits in her home office at 6:45 a.m., laptop open, coffee gone cold. The virtual board meeting is scheduled for 9 o'clock. She's dressed in the Navy suit she saves for battles she can't afford to lose. Her notes are bullet-pointed, calm, professional. But her hands tremble when she reaches for her phone. She texts the group chat she started after the last circle. Rosa, Jamal, Marcus, Mr. Kim, a handful of regular customers who've become regulars in the best way. Heading into the meeting. Whatever happens, thank you for reminding me why I started this. Responses flood in almost instantly. Rosa, you've got this. We've got you. Jamal, tell them the numbers. Delinquency is down 14% since we started the grace periods. Marcus, if they try to roll it back, we'll show up at the next board meeting. In person, Mr. Kim, my grandson says you're like a superhero without a cape. He's right. Maya exhales a shaky laugh. She isn't used to backup like this. The meeting begins on time. 14 faces on screen, mostly men, mostly graying, mostly from boardrooms far from Detroit. The compliance officer presents slides, risk exposure, policy deviations, non-standard discretionary lending. Words like unsustainable and reputational hazard land like punches. The chairman, a silver-haired investor from Chicago, leans forward. Dr. Thompson, we appreciate your passion, but passion doesn't pay dividends. We need to see a return to standard protocol, effective immediately. Maya has rehearsed this. She opens her mouth to deliver the measured defense she prepared. Then her phone buzzes. She glances down. Rosa has sent a photo. It's the shoebox under her bed. Open. Inside, the original loan approval letter, a handful of crumpled bills, and a new sticky note in child's handwriting from Mommy's truck. Love, Sophia and Mateo. Below the photo, one line, this is what you're fighting for. Something shifts inside Maya. Not anger. Clarity. She looks back at the camera. I'm not going to defend the changes, she says. I'm going to show you what they've already done. She shares her screen. Not spreadsheets. Videos. First, a shaky phone clip of Marcus teaching a group of teens how to change a tire in the youth center parking lot. Laughter. Grease on their hands. One boy says, I never thought I could fix anything. Now I can fix cars. Next, Rosa in her tiny apartment kitchen, filming herself prepping trays of tamales for the branch's Friday lunch. Her kids help. Sophia rolling dough, Mateo stirring sauce. Rosa looks straight at the camera. This loan didn't just save my rent. It gave my kids hope they could dream bigger. Then Mr. Kim, standing behind his store counter, grandson beside him. We're adding a small takeout section next month. Thanks to the mentorship program, my boy knows how to track inventory. He's 15. He's already better at it than I was at 30. Maya lets the clips play. No nedastion. Just real people. Real lives. When the last video ends, silence stretches across the Zoom call. One board member, a woman in her 50s who rarely speaks, clears her throat. I've been on this board 8 years, she says. I've never seen delinquency drop while community engagement rises. The metrics don't lie, but neither do those faces. The chairman rubs his jaw. We still need safeguards. I agree, Maya says. I'll formalize the discretionary review process. But I won't undo what's working. Not when people are finally breathing again. A long pause. Then the vote. 9 to 5 in favor of continuing the pilot program with oversight. Maya doesn't celebrate on camera. She simply says, "Thank you," and ends the call. She sits in silence for a full minute. Then she cries, quiet, grateful tears she hasn't allowed herself in years. That afternoon, she drives straight to the branch. The circle is already forming when she walks in. Word spread fast. Rosa is there with fresh churros. Jamal has printed new counseling schedules. Marcus brought auto parts catalogs for the youth program. Mr. Kim sets down a tray of mandu. Maya doesn't speak right away. She just looks at them. Really looks. "I thought I built this bank to save people," she says finally. "Turns out you all saved me." Rosa steps forward first. Hugs her. No words needed. The transformation unfolds quietly, steadily. Rosa's catering side hustle grows. She rents a small commercial kitchen space with her second draw. The food truck dream inches closer. First step. A permit application she fills out at the branch with Jamal's help. Marcus opens a small mobile mechanic service using skills he honed teaching the kids. His first customer? Mr. Kim's delivery van. Jamal gets promoted to loan officer. He still blushes when people tease him about the day he almost fired the boss, but he wears the badge with pride now. Maya stops working late every night. She starts showing up at the youth center, not as CEO, but as a volunteer. She tutors math. She listens. She laughs, real, unguarded laughter. One Saturday, 6 months after the frozen moment, the branch hosts its first community block party. Tables line the sidewalk. Rosa's food truck, finally hers, serves free plates to the first 100 people. Kids run through a bounce house funded by small business donations. Marcus tunes up bikes for free. Mr. Kim's grandson sells lemonade with hand-painted signs. Maya stands off to the side, watching. Rosa finds her. "You remember that day?" Rosa asks. "When you said, 'I own this bank,' and chose kindness instead of anger?" Maya nods. Rosa smiles. "You don't just own the bank anymore. You own a piece of all our hearts." Across the street, a teenage girl, new to the youth program, approaches a struggling mother in line for food. The girl slips her an extra plate and whispers, "Someone helped me once. Now it's my turn." Maya watches the small gesture land, sees the mother's shoulders relax, sees the ripple begin again. Full circle. The woman who once stood frozen behind a counter, underestimated and unseen, now stands in sunlight surrounded by people who see her clearly. And the bank? It isn't just solvent. It beats with the same stubborn, beautiful hope that carried Rosa through every hard morning, that carried Maya through every closed door. Kindness didn't fix everything, but it changed everything. 2 years have passed since that crisp autumn morning when 5 words, "I own this bank," stopped time inside a Detroit branch and started something far bigger. Community First Bank isn't the same institution anymore. The pilot program that once terrified the board has become the standard operating model. Delinquency rates continue to fall, now 22% below industry average for similar community banks, while customer retention has climbed to levels most national chains can only dream of. The Youth Mentorship Initiative has graduated over 340 teenagers. 68% are now enrolled in college, trade school, or running micro businesses of their own. Emergency home loan funds have prevented 214 foreclosures in the neighborhoods Maya grew up watching crumble. Maya Thompson still walks the branch floor most mornings, but the navy suit has been replaced by jeans and sensible boots more often than not. She no longer lives alone in that quiet Corktown townhouse. She bought the small two-story her mother once lost, renovated it, and turned the basement into a community library stocked with financial literacy books, cookbooks, and engineering textbooks for kids like Mateo. On weekends, her mother, now in her late 70s and finally retired, sits on the porch greeting neighbors who stop by for coffee and advice. Rosa Lopez's food truck, Abuela's Kitchen, is a fixture at farmers markets, church festivals, and now even corporate lunch runs downtown. The truck is painted bright turquoise with sunflowers along the side, Sophia's design. Mateo, now 13, handles the social media page and has already saved enough from weekend shifts to buy his first laptop for engineering camp next summer. Rosa still caters the branch's Friday lunches, but now she pays her teenage helpers minimum wage plus tips. She never forgets what it felt like to receive help when she had nothing left to give. Jamal is now the branch's senior loan officer and leads the new Second Chance lending team. He still tells the story of the day he almost denied the CEO, usually with a self-deprecating laugh and a shake of his head. Customers trust him because he remembers what it feels like to be wrong and be given grace instead of punishment. Marcus's mobile mechanic service has grown into Vet Fix, a small garage that prioritizes free or discounted repairs for veterans and single parents. He hires the teenagers he once taught in the youth program. One of them, a quiet girl named Aisha, just received her first ASE certification. Marcus framed the certificate and hung it above the workbench. Mr. Kim's grocery store expanded into a small cafe corner, serving kimchi stew alongside Rose's tamales on weekends. His grandson, now 17, runs the inventory app he built as a senior project. The boy still calls Maya Auntie Maya, even though they're not related by blood. The ripples keep spreading. The teenage girl from the block party, who once slipped an extra plate to a struggling mother, now volunteers in the youth program herself. She tutors younger kids in English and helps new immigrant families open their first bank accounts. Every time she sees someone hesitate at the counter, she steps in a way Rosa once did for Marcus. And Maya? She still carries the scars of 2008, of boardroom battles, of too many nights alone with spreadsheets. But the isolation is gone. She has people who text her at midnight when they're worried about a bill, who invite her to quinceañeras and barbecues, who remind her that leadership isn't about being the strongest in the room. It's about making the room stronger. Every few months, the circle still meets. Not because there's a crisis, but because they like each other's company. They eat, they laugh, they share wins and setbacks. Sometimes they just sit in comfortable silence, grateful for the unlikely family they built. Stories like this don't promise that kindness erases every hardship. Inflation still bites. Bills still arrive. Life still throws curveballs. But kindness changes the way we catch them, together instead of alone. It reminds us that the stranger who pays a $50 application fee can unknowingly launch a movement. That choosing grace over power in one heated moment can thaw decades of distrust. That a black woman who once watched her home disappear can build something that keeps hundreds of homes standing. That a single mother scraping by on oatmeal and hope can feed an entire community with her recipes and her heart. Human kindness isn't loud or flashy. It's often quiet, stubborn, ordinary, and extraordinarily powerful. So here's your gentle challenge today. Look for one place in your own life where suspicion or judgment wants to win. Choose understanding instead. It doesn't have to be grand. a listening ear, an extra plate, a second chance, one small gesture, because you never know whose destiny you're quietly rewriting, including your own. Stories like this remind us that extraordinary kindness exists all around us. If this touched your heart, please like this video. It helps more people discover these inspiring stories. Subscribe for more tales of human kindness that will restore your faith in humanity. And most importantly, look for opportunities in your own life to be someone's unexpected blessing. What act of kindness will you perform this week? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and remember, you have the power to change someone's entire world.